Hi, everyone. This is Tiffany Falvey on the Soul Whiskey Podcast. And today I have a very special guest. Her name is Michelle Lunstrum. She's someone that doesn't just talk about healing, she channels it, she embodies it, and activates it in others in a way that's truly unforgettable. She works for Luminous Ignis, and she walks at the intersection of intuition, energy, transformation. She's an intuitive reader, Akashic Records guide, shamanic practitioner, empath coach, Reiki master, and advanced chakra practitioner. But more than all these titles, she's someone who helps you access what your soul already knows. So let's dive in because I'm really excited to cover some of these topics because I think a lot of people are interested in them and don't know a lot because it's above our pay grade. Unless you've spent time in this arena and in this playground, you don't always understand some of those esoteric tools and practices that can really help us move forward in life and just understand, I think, the purpose of why we're here and what we're doing in this crazy world. So tell me a little bit about you. Obviously, you have a great story, and the lightning strike is part of your story. And I would love for you to share it with my listeners because I think that's part of all of it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Yeah, I mean, I've done so many different things in my life trying to find my authentic self. And I was this very kind of intuitive, somewhat weird child. Like a lot of intuitives kind of have a really similar story. Graduated high school, I went to the military for 8 years and traveled the world, and then decided, the most authentic thing to do with feeling this call to be a healer and being that person everyone went to. I got my master's in mental health and I worked as a mental health therapist for years. And then I was in this training to become a shamanic practitioner because I was really interested in learning more and diving even deeper. I'd already kind of done the chakra training and was, doing these things. And right after I got into that training, I was sitting in my office one day. Actually, I was sitting right here in this very chair. And this incredibly huge storm came from out of nowhere and hit the transformer and then hit the tree, and a side flare came off the tree, melted the window in this almond mandorla shape, and hit me in 3 places in my back. And I fell on the floor. I was unconscious, and next thing I know, my little poodle is sniffing around my head, and I don't know how long went by before I came to. I know my Fitbit said that I had no heartbeat for about 3 minutes, so something happened during that time. And after that, I was never the same. Like, before I could be authentic and have that kind of be a part of me that was working in the background. But after that, there was no way that I could hide or even wanted to hide this aspect of me that just multiplied. The intuition just kind of went off the charts to where it's a part of my every moment, every breath.
So what was that adjustment like, though? All of a sudden gaining this level of intuition that previously you had some of it, obviously, but it was like it got pushed into high gear technicolor. And you now have this opportunity to help people in a way that would just be enhanced, right? Even better.
Yeah, I mean, being able to kind of get to the root of things, right? Being able to suddenly just know things. It was like I would ask a question in my head and it was instantly answered. And I was like, what is going on? And it was always about like feelings and stuff like that, because my husband teases me and he's like, well, then why don't you just ask what the lottery numbers will be? And I'm like, well, it doesn't exactly work that way. This is, to me, this is divine and this is spiritual, and if I was ready energetically to handle that amount of influx of abundance, then I probably could get those numbers. But that's not where I'm at, and that's not what the path is for me. So there's limits to that as well, but just the adjustment in my body, the intensity of the energy, like I'd have to lay on the ground, lay on the earth, which helped me connect to the earth, connect with nature even more, right? And it was, I guess it felt natural. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it felt more real and more natural than anything that I ever experienced, because the responses that I was getting either from my higher self or angels or guides, there was no ego in any of it, and it's just so sweet, which made it feel natural. So yes, there was an acclimation and there was an adjustment, and then there's the physical side of adjusting to the nerve damage, and my heart had a miracle healing and self-corrected. So yeah, lots of adjustments, but at the same time, I think when we're in alignment, when we're on our path, I feel like that was an initiation or an activation of some sort. And because that was an initiation that was meant for me in the timing that it was meant to happen, I feel like there was this naturalness to it.
So, one thing I'd like to talk about that kind of struck me literally as you were talking is that when you talk about the lottery or being able to absorb that level of frequency, I think a lot of people out there, they wonder how they can win the lottery, but it can be metaphorical. It can be the love lottery, it can be the health
Mhm.
lottery, and being able to hold the frequency of that which you want that is so expanded and so full of love and so full of passion and just all of those things that I think you got to re-remember as you went through your experience. It's almost a re-remembering of this is who I am and this
Absolutely.
is what I meant to do. What would you say would be helpful for our listeners that want to at least dial up the percentage of being able to absorb that lottery in life, whatever that looks like for them? Because like you said, it's different for everyone. And there's um, a secondary side effect, I will call it, of anything that we wish and want for. So love has a side effect, right? Having children has a side effect. You all of a sudden have these little liabilities walking around the planet that if anything happened to them, it would just crush you. And so you win the lottery, and now you have like millions of little lottery babies that people want to kidnap from you, right? Everybody wants a little piece
Yeah.
of your lottery babies. And the same is true with, if you have this amazing physique and you're very fit and you take care of yourself, there's an energetic frequency to that other people want as well. They covet that. And so I would love for you to dive in just a little bit on what we can do on the levels that you've seen to raise our capacity to be able to absorb some of this experience that would be considered bigger and better and grander than what we have right now today. And also explain why it's so hard to be able to just absorb a $300 million lottery and be able to maintain that frequency. Or, if you're someone that's had health condition your whole entire life and you woke up and they were all gone, you wake up. One of the things I know for certain is you wake up and you remind yourself of everything going wrong in your body, in your bank account, in your relationships, in your life, in the country, with the politics, whatever it is. You remind it's like this checklist of, oh yeah, that person's still president, and oh yeah, this is going on, or oh yeah, my knee still hurts, but you know what, your knee hasn't hurt yet because you haven't got out of bed and you're not using it, but you're reminding yourself of this pain. So I know I just gave you a lot. Dig in wherever you want to go with that.
So the universe that is me is full of different parts of me, different aspects of me that make the whole, right? And there's this really healthy adult that fortunately is in charge within my system and everyone's system, right? The movie Inside Out is probably one of the best descriptions of human beings I've ever seen in my life, where we have these aspects or these parts of us, and we get these unhealed parts, right? And those wounds, and that's where those negative thoughts, those beliefs can come from. It's an aspect of us. It's part of us that's expressing an insecurity, a fear, self-doubt, so, lack of self-worth, or the opposite, self-worth, right? And when we don't have any money blocks, we don't have any financial blocks, then money just kind of flows, and we can carry the frequency for that. But we all have kind of where we're at with that. When people, come for a reading and they're like, why can't I find love? And, a lot of times what comes through is the guides will tell me they're looking for these qualities, but they're not doing that work themselves. They want somebody that has really good emotional intelligence and really good retirement, and but they're not like seeking that within themselves, and we attract the energy that we are. So it's a frequency. I mean, so many people end up in relationships where it's no longer a frequency match because one person is, really doing a ton of growth and one maybe isn't. Or they're growing in really different directions and it's just no longer a match. But, the two people maybe were attracted during a time when that was a match. And it's the same thing. Right now, winning, $3 million isn't a frequency match for me. And I don't think that would actually bring me joy. I think that would bring me a great deal of stress. And so, really, it's about when we want to manifest, when we manifest from our heart. Well, our heart knows if we're full of it. Like, if I'm just like in ego and I'm like, yeah, I want millions of dollars, like, that's not my heart, right? That's my ego desiring to have that for whatever reason, whether it's power, control, status, image, who knows, but that's not a heart's desire. And so when we're, wanting something from the heart and we're thinking about like, for me, it was I want to experience a career that brings me great joy. And I tried several of them. Right after the military, I did have another little where I did commercial property management for a while. Like, I kept getting to the top of everything. I worked for a video game company and got to the top to where it was like I was in this position of absolute misery where I was running this call center and getting all the calls of the people that were so angry at the 3 layers of people right before they were transferred to me. And I hated it. And so what I learned from those lessons was, let's find that sweet spot. Let's find the thing that is truly aligned, right? And that becomes the energetic match. I'm in alignment with my soul. I'm in alignment with my heart. And I'm, have found now the career that brings me joy, and that it doesn't matter kind of where I'm at in it. I'm always being intentional of, is this in alignment? Doing this podcast, checking in, is this in alignment? Does this feel right in my heart? And when we attract and we manifest and when we bring in those energetic frequencies, it's so important that that matches up.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I see it all the time in love as well, where people, they have a craving and a heart's desire for love, and they don't really appreciate and understand where they're blocking love because of some healing that needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's, just being aware of, like, you're aware of what $3 million would do. I'm aware of what that would do too. And I'm also aware of what an experience of a great love would do in my life, like what that experience is like. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that so many people, they have a desire for something, like you said, the lottery, and they don't understand that there's a lot of ego involved in that. And I think
Mm-hmm.
even wanting a relationship when you haven't done the work to feel safe in a relationship, or earlier you had said doing the work of what you want your partner to be, that's
Mm-hmm.
really funny to me because I can't tell you how many people come to me and they're like, they have a checklist. I went this and I went this and I went this. And I say, hey, is this person out there talking to their life coach describing you right now? Because I don't think
Uh-huh.
they are. And they always giggle and they say, no, they're probably not. And I'm like, okay, well, who do you have to be to get in that position for the thing that you want you? And so, I mean, of all the things that are most exciting for you to work with, is it life purpose? Is it health? What is the thing that people come to you for? I love that because I think there's a lot of people out there that know that they have gifts and they keep them somewhat under wraps because they're
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable with the gifts, but they really do want to explore them because it's so exciting to know that you have something within you that has a desire to want to help humanity, help
Mm-hmm.
people heal, help people have vision, help people on their path. And to have someone that could help guide you through that, that is a little bit ahead of you or even a lot of it ahead of you, I think is really nice and very beneficial for people.
Well, and a lot of people don't want to take a training program because it's not what they want to do professionally. But like I've worked with people that trade stocks that know that they're incredibly intuitive, and that's why they're doing so well at making picks, right? And knowing just the moment to sell. Like that's intuition. So people use intuition in their day-to-day jobs all the time. And in fact, some of the most successful companies look for people that have some of those natural intuitive abilities. I have an engineer that I've worked with that channels designs. He's a design engineer and literally he's channeling designs. He would never tell his employer that. I think his employer might have a inkling that that's going on, but being able to work with somebody that can really help them to enhance their gifts, because a lot of the training programs seem to be geared towards like how do I then do this professionally or do this for a living.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think a lot of the top performers that I've worked with, they have that it factor. And the it
Mm-hmm.
factor is intuition. It's being able to read the energy and not just the energy coming from within, because that's part of it, but the energy that's circulating everywhere to be able to take
Mm-hmm.
that and read it and transmute it and utilize it for
Yeah.
something that is meaningful to you. I mean, if it's trading stock, it's trading stock. If it's, I went to the horse races once with a client and
Mm-hmm.
every horse that I picked won. And I didn't really know that that was a thing. I'd never gone to the horse races before. And honestly, I'm not a gambler, so it wasn't something I was excited about doing either, and I didn't want to do it. And he was
Uh-huh.
like, just pick, just pick. I didn't want to pick. It felt like being in Vegas. It just didn't feel
Yeah.
fun for me. And after I picked and I just picked the horses. I just,
Yeah.
put the pencil mark on there. And I was really quite surprised at that particular level of intuition that I had that I'd never experienced before. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that just doesn't come up in my life ever. So that was
Mm-hmm.
interesting, but I still am not a gambler and I still do not go to the horse races.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you chose to be a gambler, that wouldn't necessarily continue to work because part of the secret sauce in that, in the energy, if you don't mind me sharing, is it okay?
Yeah.
Was that you immediately let go of the outcome. Like you didn't have an investment in that. And that's part of the secret of being energetically ready, too, is like you're just like, I want to have fun. And what was fun for you in that moment, right? And the universe knew that was for you to kind of win and be able to see that intuition. And so, right, that became kind of that perfect storm of being able to manifest it, but also it was an energetic alignment for you.
Yeah, and you're really spot on because when my client asked me and I was resisting, I said, "No, I'll just sit here and enjoy myself." He said, "No, listen, I'm going to spend the money no matter what." He said, "So get that out of your head." He said, "But what I'm going to do is I'm going to split all the winnings with you for fun." And
Mm-hmm.
I thought, okay, well, there's no pressure here. If he's going to spend the money no matter what, there's no pressure. And if we win, then everything above that zero sum is positive, is going to
Yeah.
be fun. And he said, "From now on, I'm taking you every time." Like, and then, well, okay, I will tell you, it's been many years since I did this. And I have this panic or this fear inside that if I tried to do it on purpose, that it would
Uh-huh.
just go astray because it was such a random fluke, right? It still feels like a fluke. I mean, who picks every single horse? It just doesn't
Right.
happen.
Somebody who has no investment, right? So now you have the fear, so that would change the outcome,
Would
right?
you
Because
say,
you're not coming from the heart.
right? Would you say that this is accurate too for people that get to the bottom of well, there's a couple things, but let's go with money. When they get to the bottom of their money pot and they're so worried about money and they're working on getting clients if they're an entrepreneur in any level and they're really wanting it so badly. Like that's what they want so badly. And that energy is coming across and it's so hard. Like, I want your advice on how somebody can find that point of maybe even neutral, let alone the not caring side or the letting go of attachment, so that they
Uh-huh.
can attract what they not only want, but at that moment, what they feel they really need to survive.
Say to care, but care in the emotion of something really consistent. What most people do when they go to manifest is they're like, okay, I want this outcome, right? And then they rethink it, and the guides go to work, right? The universe is like, okay, this package is what they want, And then they're thinking about it and spinning on it, and they're like, well, maybe I need 3 million, or maybe I need, right, maybe I need a job with a shorter commute. Maybe I just want to be able to ride the bus, whatever the thing is, but they keep changing it, right? And then the guides are all over again. Okay, let me start. And what's so beautiful about when you kind of manifested and brought that energy to you of winning is it was like, yeah, let's just have fun, right? And then you let it go. So the entire image of what you set your, think of your guides like going, okay, let's get to work now, right? Like it was like, have fun. Okay, she wants to have fun. She wants to have an experience of having fun. She
Okay.
wants joy.
Okay.
And you didn't change it.
No, okay. I love what you just said because it's so true. I feel like when you place an Amazon order, you can't just change it 10 times once you place the order because it's just going to keep being like in this purgatory of transit, right? And you're not going to get
Yes.
what you want. But going back to the horse races, so I've always been someone that wins at raffles. You go into places and you win the t-shirt, something that just doesn't really have too much value to it. And it's because my number one experience that I want to have is fun. I just want to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
That often gets lost when it comes to somebody that is suffering from a disease, a physical
Mm-hmm.
disease. That fun part, I think, gets lost of like, hey, I just want to have fun eating healthy. Actually, let's not go to disease. People that are wanting to lose weight, it's normally not fun for them. They put this pressure on themselves and they restrict their diets to something that's not fun at all. And so I find that ingredient that you're talking about right there is missing for a lot of us. It's missing, including in the money department. So they say, I have to have money. So they have jobs that they don't necessarily like. I have to stay in this marriage because if I don't stay in the marriage, I'm going to lose half of everything, if not more, of what I've
Mm-hmm.
earned my whole life. And so that's not fun, right? That's not a good time. So if you were to help people shift from an experience that might be quite heavy, and there's a lot of them that are heavy,
Mm-hmm.
into like I've told my clients before, hey, it can be fun just living in a cardboard box as long as you don't have to listen to that partner that's degrading you or belittling you or not cherishing you or abusing you. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time in the cardboard box because I have to go all the way to like the extreme in order for them to see it as fun because sometimes that in
Mm-hmm.
between area, it's not fun. The first time you go and you do your workouts and you're so sore and you can't walk for a week, can't sit down on the toilet, that's not fun for most people. So I mean, I'd love your input on how to find the fun when someone feels like they really are at that rock bottom. They don't like going to the job every single day. They don't want to
Mm-hmm.
eat healthy. That's not fun for them. They want nachos and beer and whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, yes, that's so true. By the way, I love sore muscles, as weird as that sounds,
I
but
do too. I
being
do
able
too.
to
I love that
being
feeling.
able no, I feel alive. And that's the thing, right? So sometimes the pain and the discomfort is for us, right? Like there is some joy in that, but also then there are the things that are just heavy and hard. So I was diagnosed with stage 3 kidney failure as a result of the lightning. And what happened was, and with that, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Like, I can't, how do I, right? I was in that dilemma, right? Like, everything that I'm teaching, like, how does this make sense? And so, what I had to shift that to is, what is this here to teach me? And I no longer have it. I've reversed that, and I found the path for that, which I was determined to. And what it was there to teach me was a lot of things. One, that there are a lot of holistic and energetic and healing paths that actually do work. And I was able to have the experience myself where it was, let's wait till you need dialysis. And instead, I was like, no, that's not going to work for me, right? And I was just adamant that's not going to work for me. I'm not doing that. And so, following a holistic path, being intuitively led to the right people, trusting that they were going to show up, that I was going to find that path, but it was there to teach me a lot. And when the kidney failure taught me everything that I needed to learn from it, then I got the ultimate joy of blood test results that showed it was gone. That was no longer an issue that my body was having. And so when the lab markers showed it, that's when I had my joy. And if, when I was stuck in a job that I didn't like because, it took me 4 times of working myself up to a job of ultimate misery. But my last version of that, right, was being a clinical director at, like a mega counseling center. And that was a lot. And it took the it took the risk, and it was terrifying to take the risk and be like, you know what, I'm going to go out on my own, and then you know what, I'm going to come out as a psychic. Those things weren't necessarily like joyful and fun, but they were there to teach me, and the joy was at the end. The joy was when it was like, oh my god, I pulled this off. Like, I'm working as an intuitive professionally. Like, this is my job now. Like, how cool is that? That I get to look at my calendar and I'm like, I'm doing exactly what I want to do today.
I know, I love that. I'm right there with you, girl.
Yeah, that's where the joy comes.
Yeah, yeah. And I do think that it is important to look at, why is this happening? Because part of the study that I'm very passionate about is the emotional link to things, like
Mm-hmm.
Louise Hay's work and all of
Yes.
that, where there really are emotions that are living in certain organs in the body or areas of the body everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people, they go straight to Eastern, Western medicine, and they kind of leave the Eastern to the side. And
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to heal in the traditional sense if you're
Mm-hmm.
ignoring the emotional landscape. And whether that's because of a side effect of something that's happened, the way it was explained to me when I was really young is you could take 100 crash test dummies and you could put them all in the same car accident so that their body hit the same exact way, but they're all going to have a different injury based on their emotional patterns within their body.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it might be neck. If you have a lot of control issues, your neck might get hurt.
Yep.
You might have
Mm-hmm.
back issues. You might have a knee issue. If you have a lot of ego issues, you might have an ankle issue. If you have, fear or concern about where you're moving forward in life, or a hip issue, or whatever it is. And, my prayer for people out there when they do have a diagnosis or even a life issue, any type of issue, is to ask that question that you said. Why is this happening to me? What is the purpose of it? And then the reason that I was so very excited to talk to you today is I think a lot of people, they simply don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. And so the more that we can get the word out that there are paths, because I can imagine people listening saying, Michelle, what's the exact thing you did to heal this? Because I have it. And it doesn't necessarily work like that, right? What works for one person doesn't always work for another person. But the opportunity for them to see that there's a different path other than chemo, other than slicing and dicing, other than an SSRI, other than a lot of those things that are introduced to people as the healing modality without much thought to the side effects of that. And the reason I think there's such severe side effects is because we're not addressing the root cause of, why is this happening to me?
Right. So root cause is super important, right? And I'm not going to tell you, here's the protocol for healing the kidneys, because I don't know what it is for
Right.
another person, right? But what I do know is the kidneys is related to anger, right? Well, I was angry that I had to hide being a medium. I was angry that I had to hide being intuitive because I grew up in a really religious family. I was angry that as I came out with this, my family disconnected with me because they saw that as evil and dark. And so I was pissed. So the lightning strike then was coming in to activate me, to initiate me, to move forward on this path. And the kidney was the thing saying, I'm angry, right? And so I had to work and I had to heal that anger. I had to reconcile that within myself and find peace within myself as part of a broader, holistic treatment plan that ended up being what was right for me to get my kidneys to teach me exactly what they were meant to teach me, which was such a gift, such a blessing. And I am grateful that I went through that experience.
Yeah, one thing I want to share in regards to that is I had high blood pressure, and I didn't really know that that was like a thing. And, somehow middle age, creeps up on you and there's these things that happen and you go, well, where did that happen? I feel like I'm still 22. And I was having some symptoms of high blood pressure without knowing they were symptoms of high blood pressure, because why would I ever look up symptoms of high blood pressure? And I wound up in the emergency room, long story short. And they said, we're not going to let you leave until this blood pressure goes down to a healthy level. And I'm sitting there and I'm asking myself this question: why is this happening to me? And of course, I know the answer. I know the answer. It's like right there. So I leave and I go and I consult with my practitioner that I have used for many, many, like 2 decades of time. And he says, oh, it's not blood pressure, it's your kidneys. And I said, what? And he said, no, it's not. You don't have high blood pressure. It's your kidneys. And so he gave me a protocol to help the kidneys, and the high blood pressure went away. So what I would love for people to understand is the thing that's targeted, you sometimes have to use that as a map or a GPS system to get to what the thing actually is. And that's kind of the beauty or the fun in maybe what you and I do, where we can go down the little path and we can pick up all of these little crumbs and we can figure out what is the root cause, because sometimes it's hidden. I had jaw stuff for so many years and I had no idea. I was just like, oh, it's because I grind my teeth, or it's because of this. And it was none of those things. And now I don't have it. And I find it so exciting and fascinating to know that somebody listening to this podcast might say, wow, maybe there's an alternate reason why my hip has been sore since I've been a kid. Maybe there's a reason why my vision isn't where it should be, beyond what the doctor said. Like, what is it you don't want to see? I love asking people that question because it really stops them in their track. Not a lot of people ask you, what is it you don't want to see? Or a lot of the men I've worked with that are kind of ready to get out of a relationship that no longer serves them, they will start to have hearing issues. And they're older. And I always say, well, what is it that you don't want to hear? And they know exactly what the sound is that they do not want to hear anymore. And so, I don't know, I just think there's a lot of fun and joy in the exploration, not necessarily the end game, but the process of exploring and revealing some of these unique things about yourself. Just like you said, your healing journey is going to be different than mine. And we can take kidneys straight across the board. We can take 100 women that have experienced kidney stuff, and each one of them are going to have a unique healing journey that's going to be so powerful and healing, not just for them, but for everyone in their tribe and everyone near them. And it's just being brave enough to ask yourself those questions and be vulnerable enough to take a look at, I can appreciate what it feels like to have your family think that your gifts are from a source that's not honorable. And you think, what are you talking about? Because you're able to have access to a bigger, wider lens. So you're able to see things that they don't. I mean, I remember even in high school, we had all the trashy magazines. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. And I mean, my parents thought I was going straight to hell for reading the horoscopes. Like they could not believe. And I said, oh, it's just so fun, And you can also kind of use whatever it is that you believe in as a placebo. And somehow I've always known that, even since I was young. Sometimes I would pick someone else's horoscope and I'd say that one's going to be mine for this month because that's really what I need. That's how I rolled. I wasn't going to take Cosmo or whatever the magazine of choice was, Glamour. I wasn't going to take the horoscope that was written on there that didn't resonate with me and make that truth. I was going to find the one that did resonate with me. And I know there is so much value in the sun, the moon, the stars, and that whole study. That's not my study, so I don't know a lot about that. But I do know that whatever you choose to feed your consciousness is going to sprout, regardless. And so if you come from a family that chooses their conscious in alignment with that, something you're doing just as your own humanness, just as who you are, is wrong or bad, is very dangerous for everybody. And it's very hard to absorb that from the people that are your tribe. So hard.
Yeah, that's not love, is it?
It doesn't feel like love, certainly.
It doesn't feel like love. And it can feel like love to them, right? Because if we're in fear, right? And that's what, keeps me out of the anger now, is I recognize they're just afraid for me, right? They just have this fear because they still believe in um, a God that would burn most of its creation for eternity. So if they're going to hold on to that, they're going to have a lot of fear, and I can respect that. I have compassion for that.
Yeah, I agree. I see that as well. And
Yeah.
there's not an argument to be had when somebody is so fixed in their belief system. And I also know that I wouldn't want someone bringing an argument to me that directly would push against something that I believe very strongly in. And one of those I can say is that when I get a client or somebody that says I cannot divorce because it's in the Bible, because of my belief system, because
Mm-hmm.
God says not to divorce. And one of my arguments is simply this, like when I pray, I don't pray to a God that would want me to stay in a relationship that is causing disease in every area of a person's life. It's not healthy for
Mm-hmm.
anybody. And so I want to understand where they're coming from, that their
Mm-hmm.
God would want them to stay in a relationship that is harmful and hurtful because it was written as a law. It was
Right.
written as this is what you must do. And I just, that's their belief. And so it will keep them
Mm-hmm.
locked. Like you said, it will keep them stuck and it will keep them in indecision. And one of the things I stand for is once you have that decision, speaking of what you want in your life and the angels and the guides, once you have that
Yeah.
decision of what you're ordering on Amazon, then
Mm-hmm.
everything starts moving and grooving. But one of the
Yep.
purgatories that I see so often in our culture is people that know that they're in an unhealthy, expired marriage and or relationship,
Yeah.
but they will not make the decision to order the new relationship. So they stay in this really funky
Mm-hmm.
space of sometimes it turns out to be an affair. Sometimes it just
Yep.
turns out to be lack of the beautiful fellowship between a man, between two people, right? They
Mm-hmm.
don't have that anymore. I've seen it even within friends where they know it's
Mm-hmm.
time to move on because one party has grown and the other one has not grown. And
Yep.
they refuse to do it because it's so uncomfortable to let go of what's not working. And how do you ever expect to draw towards you or step into a life where everything is working if you can't let go of what's not working? I mean, look at our culture right now in regards to drugs and alcohol and all the vices that we have. If you just let go of it, things will be restored. Let go of what's not working without the fear. I think that's the equation. And the fear part, how do we let go of the fear part? Do you have any tips and tricks for that? Yeah, I love that. I love that. I think it's so important for people to take a look at the fears and why the fear's here and what the initial seed thought is of the fear. Because if you go all the way to the bottom of it, like you said, I had a weird experience the other day where a client of mine brought to my attention that this soap opera star had died at like a young age, right? 57. Just happened this week. So we're on point right now with the news, the latest. And he said to me, "You know what? It brings me some peace to know that it could all be over in 2 years." So instead of like, how some people might say, "Oh, that's awful. I can't believe it. What, like he was so young. Can't believe he
Mm-hmm.
died." This other client says, "This is very peaceful for me. 2 years?
Uh-huh.
Wow. I have money to live the next 50 years and I only have to make it two. I'm going to start giving my money away. I'm going to start enjoying myself more. I'm going to let go of all of the
Mm-hmm.
stress that I have." And I thought, what a
Yeah.
beautiful way to frame it.
Yeah. Yeah. That is beautiful. Yeah. Right. We just shift it, and that speaks to that individual, right, and who they are, and how they're able to kind of think about things, and how we think about things is so powerful to how we experience our life.
Yeah, and I think some of us naturally, innately are born with more faith, a stronger faith muscle. One thing that I see quite a bit is a lack of faith in things that you can't control. And I think, well, all you have is faith with things that you can't control. That's all you get to have is faith
Yeah.
that it's happening, everything is working out the way that it should. And it doesn't matter whether that's your family or whether that's politics or whatever it is. And I've had my fair share of having to work that muscle. And I wonder if that's why I've become such a faithful woman, is because I've had to flex that muscle because situations have come into my life where I had no answer for it. I had no solution for it. I had no path even to walk other than everything is working out just the way that it should work out. And I might not know the reason. I definitely don't know the why right now, but I know that I will appreciate and understand those answers at some point, hopefully in the course of my life. And if not, then they'll be revealed to me at a later time. And if they're not revealed, then they were never even that important. I didn't need to know them
Exactly.
anyway.
Yeah.
Well, so for people that want to work with you and they want to connect with you, why don't you let them know how they can find you, where they can find you, and what you offer them as far as just things, because sometimes people want to book an appointment, sometimes people just want to just drink up your content. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me at my website, Luminous Ignis. Luminous, Luminous, and Ignis, Ignus, .com, which Ignis is ignite in Latin. So there's a little lightning theme going on with the name of my business. And same thing, Luminous Ignis on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, with all of those links can be found on my website.
Fantastic. Well, I highly encourage everyone listening today to go and track down Michelle because she is an incredible soul. And I am so honored that you came and you spent this time with me today. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was an honor to be here.
Yes, let's do it again.